What's going on, everybody? Governor Westmore, and I'm here at beautiful Sandy Point Park in the state of Maryland with my guy Kizzle, and we are going on a hike. And we're going to be talking about how we're making Maryland more affordable by investing in childcare, by investing in our young men and boys, by investing in education, and also by making sure we're giving everyone pathways to home ownership and work, wages, and wealth. So let's go.
Let's do it. So talk to me, man. Talk to me. I hear you're running again.
We're running again, man.
Okay.
And listen, we're feeling good, but we know that the job's not done.
Mm-hmm.
I'm excited about the progress. Like, we're literally, we've now in Maryland, we've had amongst the fastest drops in violent crime anywhere
For sure.
in the United States of America.
For sure.
That we've been able to, if you look at the first 6 months of this year, Maryland's job growth rate has essentially almost doubled the national rate. That we've been having the fastest growth in public school scores, amongst fastest growth in the entire country.
Right.
So it's like the momentum is real, but the job's not done. Like, when I first ran, I was like, I want to end child poverty.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I want to be able to lift up our young men and boys. I want to be able to end the racial wealth gap. We've got big goals and big aspirations.
Yeah.
And so we made a lot of progress on them, but I'm like, job's not finished.
For sure. So talk to me, what else needs to be done? Like, what are you going to be doing in your next term? Assuming you get elected, what's some of your priorities that you really want to focus in on?
Well, I think some of the big things we want to get done is we've got to make sure we're just getting this economy going, and we're getting it done in a way that is going to make sure it grows for everybody and not just some people.
Right.
The problem is that oftentimes the way Maryland's economy worked was we were very reliant on Washington, D.C.
Right.
And so when you saw the kind of assault that we've now seen from this federal administration, where, there's no state that's taken the kind of hit like Maryland's taken. The federal government has fired over 31,000 people in a year in our state. That's more than any other state in this country. And so we said, we got to make sure we're diversifying our economy off of Washington, D.C.
Right.
And at the same time, though, I got to make sure that it's working for everybody.
Yeah.
Not just for the wealthiest, but making sure that everybody is getting the supports they need. And so we can get people back into the workforce. It's a reason we've done things like giving the middle class a tax cut.
Yeah.
It's a reason we've done things like make the large investments in childcare in our state's history. It's a reason I've done things like the largest mass pardon in the history of the United States of America, because I want to get people back into the workforce. Over 175,000 misdemeanor cannabis convictions I pardoned.
Yeah.
Largest in the country's history. And so that's the kind of thing I think we want to really make sure we're zeroing in and working on, because if we can do that, then I think the long-term goal of saying, are you going to focus on ending child poverty? Are you going to do the big things that we said we're going to do? I think that then we're on the pace to do it.
Yeah. And one of the things that I'm passionate about is young men and boys.
Yes, sir.
So how can young men and boys in the state of Maryland get more involved in the workforce? Like, what is that going to look like in your next term? What are some things that you're lining up for them?
There's no state that's had a more aggressive push on addressing the opportunities for young men and boys like the state of Maryland. And part of it is because of the data. We see that, young boys have 4 times the suicide rate.
Yeah.
That for our young men and boys, that the job rate and the job, the job growth rate really hasn't moved in decades. It is very personal for me.
Mm-hmm.
I was raised by an immigrant single mom.
Mm-hmm.
And I had handcuffs on my wrists by the time I was 11 years old.
Right.
So a lot of the struggles that a lot of our young boys are facing and seeing, they're very real to me. And so we have a very real focus on making sure that we can build out for them.
Right.
And so the things that we've been able to do is we made Maryland the first state in the country that has a service share option for all of our high school graduates, that we've been able to really work to get more men, particularly more men of color, inside of the classroom, where we've cut our teacher vacancy rate by around 60% within our state. If you want to build out your society, make sure your young men and boys are good. And frankly, one of the best ways you can help out your women and girls is make sure your young men and boys are okay.
And one of the things that I've seen with the younger generation is that a lot of them don't want to go to college. They want to take a non-traditional route to figuring out how they want to support their families and provide for their families.
Yeah.
So what are some options that you guys are working on to make available for these young men and boys that are looking for like non-traditional routes to securing income?
Well, I'm so proud of what we've done in Maryland, because we made Maryland the first state in the country that now has a paid service year option for all of our high school grads. So every high school grad now has a chance to have a paid year of service to the state of Maryland. And they can choose to do whatever it is they want to do. They can work with veterans, they can work in the environment, they can work with young people, they can work with older adults. It is totally their choice. The only thing we ask is, tell us what makes your heart beat a little bit faster, and we're gonna pay you to go do that. And by the way, you're getting $6,000 at the end of it that you can put towards whatever you want to put towards. That option is now available to all of our high school graduates. In addition to that, we have quadrupled the amount of apprenticeship and trade slots that we have within our state. And a big reason for that is, like, I think the 4-year school option should be available to all kids. But I think if a kid doesn't want to go to a 4-year college, then we still need to give them pathways to work, wages, and wealth, which is all I want for every single one of our people: work, wages, wealth. And so we've actually made sure, by doing everything from helping out our small businesses and teaching our students how not just be employees but employers, doing this service year option for all of our high school graduates, increasing the amount of trade and apprenticeship slots that we have for our people, we are creating pathways for all of our young people, particularly our young boys, to make sure that they know that they're gonna get supports no matter how they see their future taking place, because it's important for them to win, because if they win, we're all gonna win.
Let's make it simple for them. How do they get access to that? Because there's gonna be somebody that's listening to this that's like, man, I wanna—
Like, that's what's up.
Yeah. So how do they get access to that?
So I think for a lot of the people who are for the service year people, it's as simple as just talking to your high school about it. As you are getting ready to graduate, or even if you just graduated, contact your high school and let them know this is something you want to do, and they can put you in direct touch with all of our people to be able to make that happen. The same thing with people who are thinking about apprenticeships, whether you're thinking about you want to be a steel worker or an iron worker, or whatever it is that you want to do in the trades. If you contact your local trade folks, they can then connect you.
I'm a new homeowner, right? And I just bought my house.
Congratulations.
Thank you, I appreciate it. I just bought my house in Waldorf.
Yes, sir.
Maryland.
Southern Maryland.
Yeah, Southern Maryland. And so one of the things that I'm dealing with right now, I'm trying to figure out, obviously, paying these bills. Yeah, and so I know that there's a lot of concern around, like, the prices for, like, utilities and all the different bills that you know come with home ownership.
That's right.
And so I wanted to know, what are your thoughts on that? What are you planning on doing in your next term to kind of combat some of the things that we're seeing from our utility bills?
Well, one thing, I'm very proud of you, because being a homeowner is a big deal, and because it's not just about the shelter that it provides you. You now have equity. You have ownership. You have something that's going to continue to grow in value. And so the fact that you took that step, and truthfully, you took that step a whole lot earlier than I did in my life. So I'm very proud of you. Because that is a very big deal, and it's something that your kids and grandkids and great-grandkids and great-great-grandkids, they will benefit from the fact that you've already taken this step. What we are now making sure we're doing is making it a little bit easier for people to become homeowners. And so that's why I've actually now introduced, and we've signed legislation actually focusing on providing support for first-time homeowners, making sure that they can get capital, that we can do down payment assistance so people can actually buy the homes, but then also ensuring that we're making sure that it's a little bit easier and cheaper for you to maintain that home. That's why just in this past year, we've now given hundreds of dollars back to Marylanders, put money back in their pockets for things like utility costs, done $300 million that's gone back to people for these energy bills, because everyone around the country is wrestling with this, because oftentimes these are federal policies that are causing energy bills to spike, where in Maryland, we've now gone over 15% in just the past year alone. So what we're trying to do is just make it a little bit more affordable for people to be able to manage and maintain that, and also help to take care of some of these other costs that people are dealing with. We made the large investments in childcare within our state's history. We're making sure we're focusing on investments in transportation to make it simpler, easier, and cheaper for people to be able to navigate and move around by doing things like fixing roads and fixing mass transit, and fixing bridges, and that type of thing. And so our goal is, when we're talking about work, wages, and wealth, we're just trying to make sure that in every single angle, we're putting a little bit of more money back in your pocket, making sure that you get more equity in terms of your home. It's a reason, like for example, for the past 4 years since I've been the governor, we haven't raised property taxes once. We're not raising property taxes because we also know how difficult it is for people to manage and maintain, particularly new homeowners. So these are the type of things that we're going to zero in on, because it's important that more people get into your category and more people do what you're doing. And it's important that we have that housing value continue to equate to more opportunity for people as well. Congratulations, man.
I appreciate you. Thank you.
That's a really big deal.
Thank you.
And I'm being very serious. Like, you You did that a lot earlier than I did.
When did you do it?
I think I bought my first home at, was that 34, 35, something like that? Because how old are you now?
29.
Yeah, I think I was 34, 35.
Okay.
When I first bought my first home. And this is your first home?
Yeah, first home, yeah.
That's a big deal, man. How did it feel? Were you nervous? Were you scared?
Oh yeah, I was terrified, man. We were looking around and like the prices were just not, they weren't in our range.
Yeah.
And then we found a house and it was a little bit out of our range, but like my fiance really liked it, and you know how that goes, right?
Oh yeah.
Your fiance, you know, like.
A happy wife, happy life, man.
I know you talked about childcare.
Yeah.
And that's kind of the next transition that we're going into. Not yet.
Yes.
But like maybe in the next, I don't know, the next term.
Of course.
Right. And so that's a concern of mine as well. Childcare.
Yeah.
What does that look like? What are some things that you guys are doing in terms of trying to make sure that childcare is affordable for Marylanders?
I'm just a big believer that if you really want to focus on the issue of child poverty, which is the reason why I ran for governor in the first place,
Yeah.
You got to make sure you're starting with childcare. For so many people, they're actually having to choose between, are my kids going to be okay, or can I go back to the workforce?
Yeah.
And that's not a fair ask. And It's
Yeah.
not a fair choice. And so what we really wanted to do is make sure we're putting, we put record funding in terms of childcare and the childcare scholarship.
Yeah.
So people can actually say, okay, my kids are going to be okay. They're going to be in a safe place. They're going to be in a learning environment, and I can now go back to the workforce.
Yeah.
It's another big reason why our push on public education. And I'm really proud of the fact that we made the large investments in public education in our state's history.
Yeah.
And when y'all do decide to eventually go down that path, you're gonna have some great public schools.
Okay.
For your kids to be able to attend. We want to give y'all the opportunity to get back into the workforce.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so that's why I believe that childcare and investing heavily in childcare is something that we've got to be able to do. And it's one of the reasons, even on a national basis, like I think childcare needs to be a right.
Yeah.
I think childcare is something that we should be able to provide on a national basis to every single family.
Yeah.
If you actually care about getting your economy moving and actually care about making sure your children are getting the development they need. I just think as a civil society, there's certain basic needs that you are going to want to support.
Right.
It's going to help out not just the people of your community, but it's going to help out your economy. And I think that includes things like childcare. I think it includes things like, are people going to have access to affordable and accessible healthcare?
Yeah.
Like, I don't think that's too big of an ask.
Yeah.
And I think, but the thing about it is, it provides great return on that investment. The best way to make sure that child is okay is make sure their family's good.
Right.
If that family's good, that community's gonna be better.
Yeah.
If that community's better, then our society wins. And so I think that it actually turns out to be one of the greatest returns on our investment. And I think that we're gonna do everything we can do on a state level, but on a federal level, making investments in childcare and making sure we have access to, everyone has access to childcare, and make sure everyone has access to healthcare. It's one of the best things you can do to have a good return in your society.
I love that. I love it so much. Great seeing you, man.
Great seeing you.
Yeah.
Friday, keep doing okay.
Thank you, man.
Thank you.